Uh, Again, it's an upgraded GNOME 41. There's a redesigned software app, and the software app now fully supports Flatpak. There's also a Fedora Canoid spin, or Canoid, whatever you call it. It's more of a KDE Plasma desktop that has a few other things in it. And GNOME 41 has a new multitasking panel, cellular panel. GNOME software app is noted above, as I noted. Power options menu, which I'll show you. A GNOME calendar, which I didn't show you, and connections to different OSs. And I just want to mention that Fedora, usually they plan to have releases every 6 months, but this time they were a little bit late in coming out because they were waiting for a few outstanding showstopper bugs. So they'll hold a release until all the showstoppers are completed. This is the new software app, a little more color than before. And then we've got our GNOME multitasking app. That's actually in settings. You can adjust your different windows and stuff like that. And of course, your mouse and touchpad. This is new in GNOME 41. And the power options in your status menu: balanced, power saver, and there's also performance up there, which I didn't get a screenshot of. And I noticed the extension manager changed a little bit. One of the things that I noted here is that there's a new systemd manager. I haven't tested that, but generally systemd, you normally have to be root and run it from the command line. And so basically, here are some of the links I used. One was the Fedora magazine announcement. Another one also from Fedora magazine, what's new in Fedora 35 workstation. I just want to mention right now that like Ubuntu, Fedora has a workstation release, a server release. They have a number of spins: KDE, LXQT, LXDE, and those things. Another thing that I put up on tab is the GNOME 41 features and changes. And of course, the GNOME 41 extensions. So I made my thing. Fedora 35 just came out, so I'm making my talk very short. And so far, I've only been using it a day. So I'm going to go back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Jerry. And will you please tell me which link I should use in the agenda, or maybe you set up a link that has all of them in it, or I can just let people read it from that part of the display. But give me one preferred link that'll take people the best place possible. That goes for other presenters today also. And if you do it in time, I'll put it together tonight.
Jerry, you missed the most important thing.
The game.
There's now Anagrammarama on it, Inertia Blast, and Alchemy Quest are the 3 games I got put into Fedora 35.
That's great. I missed that. Sorry, Dennis. Yeah, there's better game support in there. So there's a lot of things that they're mostly tweaks type stuff. As a system, as a, guy coming really out of the compiler group, I look more at system engineering type things, and I don't use Fedora to play too many games, stuff like that. I play that with people.
Well, let's see. I'm planning to skip around a little here, but I think I'll talk through just a few of these first. First of all, I'll have a nice link for how you can test any Linux distro online. Wouldn't you like to try all of these, and don't you feel like not spending half an hour or 2 hours at a time putting one aboard and getting it tuned the way you like it? Why not play online? So I'll have a very nice link for doing that, and it will go to distrotest.net, but the link will be an article about distrotest.net, which makes it even nicer. I have another one I put in here under FOSS News. It seems like it's more like history, but I put it under news. Fry's Electronics is closing. They've been closing since November, and apparently it's not easy.
You mean a year?
Yes.
Yes, he does.
Almost a year ago. And I think it was late November. And if you've ever been to their Bay Area store, which San Francisco area, it's always given us a really good time anytime we've been near it. And once upon a time, we traveled out quite a bit with our company activities. So a wonderful store. They were in business 36 years, which is a long time for the computer biz. And I don't know what happened. Overnight, they said they had to liquidate, and they were going to do it as well as possible. And the reason I'm mentioning it is if any of you have a long-term warranty running through them, or some reason you wish you could straighten something out with them before they disappear, the link I'm going to give you will give you contact information. They are working overtime to do it, and that's why they've been taking so long to close. So a very reputable store. I'm very sorry to see them go. But if that affects you or someone you know, the links might be important. Bitcoin. Bitcoin is one of these many encrypted, artificial, or shall we say virtual money systems. Most of you know about it now. Most of you are avoiding it now, but some of you are heroes and experimenting with it. The article I'm featuring first is from Forbes magazine, not where I expect to get most of those articles from. I thought it was a very good one. It's in turn citing some other items from other places. What impressed me is if you want to order a $5 or $10 thing from up the street from a place that accepts Bitcoins, it transfers your dollars in terms of Bitcoin. This means it's easy to do over the web. It also means for dishonest people, it can't be traced. It means a lot of different things to different people.
Yeah,
But here's the interesting news on the subject.
Dick,
Yep.
it traces better than they want you to think.
Yes, that's true. And there are versions of it that keep coming out, escalating because of that. But I'll come to that later. Good point. Everything is what you can prove about it, plus what you imagine you can trust about it, what other people say they can prove about it. And I just mentioned that the US government has taken somebody to task for pointing out that one of its items was bugs. It was bugs so the CIA could get some information. So saying that it's bugs is now something wrong instead of being honest. Things are very interesting this year. In any case, back to where I was going, that Bitcoin $5 order you placed subliminally over on the side, out of your view, not only might have been doing other things you didn't want it to do, but it cost a minimum of $100 worth of electricity to generate it for a $5 item. That's a model that can't work unless you're clever at shifting the costs to other people, namely taxpayers. So it's a very interesting article. That's a cryptocurrency most people trust. The next article I will clipboard for you is about $squid, a new cryptocurrency. There's two things you can do with cryptocurrencies. Well, there's three things you can do. You can invent one, but for users, you can use one as described, or you can speculate in one. It's also a business for the people that own it. And if that business is on a stock market, you can buy stock in the company that puts out the cryptocurrency. This $squid one said they were aiming to optimize for that, and you better hurry because they already went up a whole lot. And the places that report on these things reported that. They didn't test it. There was nobody to be trusted on this one. But when the newspapers reported it, now there was someone to be trusted for no reason. And a bunch of people who do that sort of thing when they're not at Las Vegas picked up their computer and bought some stock in the company. It all went overnight. Poof, disappeared, gone. People invested, and they've got an example, a really good story here about a fellow who put $300 into it. It was closing in on being worth $1 million the day he decided maybe he ought to take it out, and found out he couldn't. They just disappeared. Good news and bad news. I thought it was pretty interesting. It went well with the other story. So, A, if you don't do anything with cryptocurrency, you're still paying too much for it by way of your electricity. And the pollution, folks, the pollution from the electricity. Amazing. FOSS history, I got nothing, folks. But last month was the 30th anniversary of Linux. So go have another birthday cake. I did. Let's see. Jerry mentioned in his Fedora talk that under it, it uses a program that got redone and gave a separate report on that. And I noticed it came from OMG Ubuntu, which is an independent reporter on Ubuntu. They're both using it. So it's just as good an article for both. And I mention it because Ubuntu is also about to slip in a major new Linux kernel. The kernel is the guts under which you develop your own version of an operating system, and it will run similar to the other ones. You can mix and match, and kernel 5.15 is now out. It's maybe not in your version of Linux yet, but it will be shortly. And you can put it in now, I believe, in most any version if it's not automatically installed your way. So that's one. I've got a good article on it. And they're emphasizing it's a major new kernel version. It's going to make things whistle faster and louder and all those good things. Ubuntu is announcing a new desktop installer. They've been asking folks to download it, try it out, and give them comments. They're still adjusting it. I think it's lovely and interesting that Ubuntu and Fedora have different new ones that look very attractive. If you're playing with Ubuntu or any of its derivatives, take a look. I'll have the link for that also. Let's see. I mentioned distro test to test any Linux distro online. This is different. Test Disk. Test Disk is a disk data recovery tool in Linux. If you had a crash, if you lose some portion of something you didn't mean to, if you don't know what to do, try Test Disk. And I'll be sending info on that as well, a good intro article on the subject. And I wish I'd brushed up on it enough for a demo, because then I wouldn't be still adding links to my write-up for today, putting them back on. I think I'll break for someone else for a while. Let me see. Bill Ricker. Let's see. Bill has a couple of things he was going to do. Bill, are you ready for the editing OpenStreetMap, or would you prefer to start with something different?
I can start with OpenStreetMap.
All righty. Of course, a FOSS version of Window Maps or whatever you prefer.
Google Maps.
Google Maps, sorry.
Oh, yeah, Windows has one too.
A non-proprietary answer.
As does Apple and the like. So we're looking at the map that came up by default when I just typed in osm.org. The initials serve as a shortcut. Full name is openstreetmap.org. Because this was the last place I was researching, and the local browser remembered what I was looking for. This museum is the old country store that was moved from the valley up onto the ridge when they made the reservoir. Go downstream to where the Narrows are, there's the dam. So OpenStreetMaps would let me use this query thing to ask, what's of this? So, but there's also different views of the map. The bicyclists really like to have the hills designated in traditional topographic form. There's also a version of the map that highlights other forms of transport or cultural features. All very nice. go back up to standard. You can also get a map key that shows what the different colors are doing. Nice. Right on the front page, you can request to either edit in the browser or with a application installed on your desktop. But next we're going to look at wiki.openstreetmap.org, which is where you have user guide to using the map, beginner's guide to contributing to the map, and if you want to help write programs or modify programs that work with the map data. OpenStreetMap isn't so much a single document as a database of geographic data that has that small number of canonical renderings that we looked at just a moment ago, and as many other variant renderings as people care to create. So that this is an example of where people who aren't programmers can contribute to open applications, open projects, because you can contribute map data, you can correct things that are wrong, update things that have changed in the real world. You can update the wiki. Sometimes we just need to improve our documentation. Most projects can really be helped by somebody improving the documentation. So people that can write English or other languages are as valuable as programmers, really. That's another way to contribute to a lot of projects. Since this project has a wiki that documents what the metadata about the data means to support consistency, a service road is the least important kind of road that's classified. Then there are the unclassified ones, which are worse. And motorways is the international term for what we call an interstate. So the wiki is an important resource for both the users of the map to understand what the choices we make when we mark something, and for the editors when they're changing the database underlying the map, and for people creating a render of a map or software around the map. Last time we were together, I showed my user diary. User diaries are just places where we talk. Jill, you raise your hand? You need to either hit the M key or spacebar to unmute yourself. Still not hearing you.
Okay.
Any better?
Can you hear me
Yep.
now? I realized I muted myself in the
Joe, forward.
in the system. I have a question about this OpenStreetMap.
Yep.
Is it possible for someone like as with Wikipedia to go in and mess with it?
Absolutely. And we've had a little bit of what we call vandalism. And some people just are really convinced that the international definitions of road types are wrong and the Florida way of doing things is absolutely right. So they have to fix everything to meet their idea of normal, and we have to go and revert their changes. It's all under change control, so we can revert their changes quite easily. We can ban the account they're using, and they create a new one. We had quite a bit of interesting vandalism when the Niantic games were discovered to be using OpenStreetMap cultural points to define gameable items in their enhanced reality games. The first one was called Ingress, like the database, for no apparent reason. The second one was Pokemon Go, and the third one, which is apparently closing soon, was a Harry Potter spinoff. Wizards Unite, I think they called it, something like that. And the kids playing Pokemon would create public parks in OSM in their backyard to make sure that there were extra gameable elements within easy reach of their bedroom window with their phone. And yeah, we had to police those down a little because that wasn't helpful. Their parents might not know that they were inviting the world to come kick balls in their backyard. And that's mostly tailed off, but yes, it is very much like Wikipedia. We do not use the same open license as Wikipedia for reasons, but it's a very similar model. It's like a Wikipedia or a semantic Wikipedia for mappable things.
Okay, thank you.
Was that an interruption or the end?
I can do a little bit more. If you just go to YouTube and search OpenStreetMap tutorial, you can find a whole lot of different tutorials on how to contribute, how to use it, add a road, make a poster, use JavaScript to embed a dynamic clickable map in your web page. I can give an example of one of those. We can leave the Garmin and Babel items for another time, I guess. Let's see. This map here is an OpenStreetMap that's been embedded in a web page that I manage. And it has an extra layer of data which is being pulled out of the database for this website.
So are those little diamonds something you've added?
Yes, they indicate where there's data from this website that's on an added layer over the map.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't added to the OpenStreetMap main database because they're not generally interesting, not interesting all year round. Dave, this is my field day directory. You'll remember that. And so this, but it's got the slippy map nature that we know from Google Maps, but it's not Google, it's open source. And we do request that OpenStreetMap let's see, resize my thing so I can see the bottom. We do request that the OpenStreetMap CC by SA license is acknowledged in your web page when you embed it.
Hmm.
Get a little upset with commercial sites embedding it without saying thank you.
Elegant.
So I will yield back.
Thank you. Thank you. Am I on or off? Let me see.
We can hear you.
Good. And now I can see that you can hear me. Good. Let me see. I have a mysteriously produced chip sheet. I'm trying to remember if it fits my computer. I will test. Select window or screen.
First, you have to select this window.
What?
Oh, right.
And I guess that's what I want for the moment. Well, wait a minute. Do I want Jitsi meat or do
Not Jitsi meat.
what I'm looking for is where I hid something, and that's in 2 steps. Let's say entire screen. Because if I say that and allow it, then real soon now I ought to be able to let you see the, good. We're back in business. And this is what I wasn't able to find without the chip sheet. Eureka, it works.
At least your car hasn't burned up yet.
No,
So simple, only a child can do it.
and they're rolling out the new battery packs but only up through to 2019 cars so far.
Yeah, we're looking forward to the new battery pack on our Chevy Bolt EV because people are reporting they're getting significantly more mileage per charge than it was advertised to deliver. That's especially interesting because it seldom delivers as much as it was advertised to deliver, which is 259 miles on a full charge. And we think 240 is guaranteed. And you might get 259 if you're going downhill in a tailwind and you're very careful and brake a lot because it has regenerative braking that makes electricity. But we'll wait and see. We expect that somewhere around the first of the year, they'll be moving into the 2020 year that we've got and giving them new battery packs. Ever hopeful. Well, we're already getting ahead. I want to talk about 2 interesting flavors of hardware. The first one I'm going to talk about is I just couldn't resist.
Okay.
We know Firefox is open.
Don't you just click on it?
On this?
Yeah.
I did.
Oh, I
Web.
think you have to copy the,
I think I'm going to have to go
yeah,
into another window of it.
yeah.
I could try that. Didn't go into another window of it. Let's see if I'm hiding somewhere else on the screen. That might explain it.
No,
Not yet, but I
No.
could. Let's see if I can do it there. Firefox. And this may work.
Looks like it didn't work.
Okay, we've lost Dick and can see Jill's lips moving.
Yeah. We can just wait here. Oh, I meant to
Should
mention
we
to you,
just start?
pilots like
Should
topographic
we
maps.
just start saying what? Go ahead.
I think Jerry was saying something about pilots liking topographic maps.
Yes, they like to know where to avoid the hills.
Yes, that's useful.
Timing is on.
Picky.
And to distinguish a mountain from a cloud.
I only heard the tail end of that. But you're now hearing me, yes?
Yes, welcome
We got
back.
you.
Good. Ah. Let's try that again. Select window or screen. Oh, I see. I should have said remember before I did that. Here it
Need
is.
to click on that.
And bit by bit, I'll get back to where we can do something. Come on.
It's grayed out.
Why?
Because you said remember this decision and it won't let you do that.
Nasty,
Now you want to
nasty.
just click on smartwatch. Here.
Ah,
And yay.
I hate
we're
to
on.
rush you so quickly, but I'm going to talk about two kinds of gadgets. This gadget is an inexpensive smartwatch.
I thought you were going for thumb drives.
And on this one, I have two kinds that I am currently very interested in. This, I think, is the relatively simple one. Let me look. I thought it was going to open into a batch. I got the wrong link. Try my luck. We got links we haven't used yet, folks. This is an A6 smartwatch. It doesn't look very interesting here, but it's a nice watch. Here's one showing two different faces and two different colors, what they call a color wristband, but it's on the inside, curiously. And I'm looking for ones that are showing more options, more looks to what it can do. Now, these go for anywhere from $10 to $70, all on the same eBay or what have you. Highly variable in price. And be careful, they're not the only A6 watch. But as it happens, if I can get back, who do I have to know to get back now?
Unshare it.
Wait a minute, where am I? I wanted to get to the camera.
Yeah. You have to unshare the screen.
Okay, I have a button for that, right? I thought I was just going to flip the D like it said here. It says it. Might not mean it, but it says it. Okay, where are you going to do it, Jill?
I can't do it for you.
Yes, you tell me where.
Oh, I don't know.
Swell.
Somewhere down here.
Let me make this full screen to start. And now,
Oh, go.
I don't believe it.
I'm seeing it on your screen, and there should
Why
be a
am I not
start-stop
seeing it?
camera there.
Why in the world aren't I seeing it?
We're seeing
Right, it's not on his screen.
But I go down to the bottom and I'm not getting the Jitsi prompts.
Why don't you try making your screen slightly smaller with Control minus? No.
Still not there. Isn't that interesting?
If
So,
anything can go wrong, it will. Okay. Do you have a tab called Jitsi up here?
I'll bet I do.
Or do you have another?
How about that one? Look what I found. Okay, this one perhaps? Screen share?
Yeah, that's chat. I think screen share's the next one to the left.
You're right. Well, you're left.
Okay. Now you can show your watch.
Now, I just happen to have on my wrist several watches. Can I do this? The one nearest my hand is not the one we're talking about right now. The one that's further away has a secret button to turn it on. Ah, there we go.
I'm not seeing him.
It's
Nope.
upside down and backwards.
Right,
but
I'm not seeing him either.
Nope,
Well-
just a black screen. There.
That's
Oh, no,
better.
DM, there we go.
Now you can show it to us.
Try again.
He has two watches like that guy in the New Yorker cartoon.
Right. And the one that we were talking about is the more interesting of the two on several counts. It has a secret button down on the bottom that you can't see. And it's a touchscreen button.
Pretty unclear.
And I wish I could give you a better view, but the point is it's stepping through a lot of items. And the one of particular interest to me that it added is both of these inexpensive watches keep good time. Both of them allow you to see a lot of standard data you want to have. They allow you to hook to your smartphone, and your wrist will vibrate if you're getting an incoming message on the phone. You can actually do the phone call through the watch if you want, or you can pick up the phone and do it. Of course, you have the world's teeniest screen if you want to see anything, et cetera, et cetera. It has a lot of features. At $300 and $400 and such, the big boys have more features. Most of the time, you won't care. And with these watches, you don't have to worry about it being stolen or breaking. It's that inexpensive. So they're very interesting to me. It's also interesting that they're typically running a version of Google Android that's designed for watches. And that's basically Linux. And like with many other things, sooner or later someone wants to put an alternative Linux version onto one. So I'm interested in whether I might want to try that. The watches are cheap enough, you can just buy one to try it on. And there's one much more expensive one, but still cheaper than the big boys, that is an open Linux watch. And Ubuntu has a version that's up and running on it now. I'm not sure it's a release yet, but it's up and running. So that got me interested, and I want to know who's got one that's up and running on one of these kinds of watches, and where do I go to get it? I already know its price, and I'm interested. So that's the nature of my complaint. This is a round one this month on explaining what the watches I already like do. Now, both of these watches also have the ability, they're sitting on a good place to test for heartbeat and the like. So automatically, without moving them, you can have them run a test. You can have them run a test once an hour or once a day. You can build it into a database if you like. And they can keep track of your heart rate, of your blood pressure. And there's an extra feature that's valuable for people as they're getting older, and that's the dissolved oxygen level in the blood. The one I was just showing you, the one that isn't my regular one, does that. It adds that to this one. It also takes away something in exchange. In my experience, I've bought 2 of them so far. It took me 4 transactions to do it. And one of them seems to be a good watch and the other does not. The first thing I did is I bought the watch, complete with instructions. I think the instruction manual is smaller than the watch. It's tiny, but you can find it online. What you can't do is replicate online the charger cable unless you spend money. And they shipped me a brand new sealed one without a charger cable. I was sitting looking at a dead watch and waiting for them to do something. And they finally got back to me and said they're really sorry, but they just sold their last watch. They don't have any to send me. Can they give me a $2 reduced price rebate instead? I said, for a dead watch, I don't think so. They said, well, how about $5? And I was about to say, I don't think so. And I said, wait. And I went online. And what do you know? I could get that charger cable mailed to me, complete with shipping, for $4. I said, okay, but if it isn't working when I get a charger cable, you start the time, my reply time from then for returning it. Charger cable came in and it didn't work. And I was so deep into it by then, and they are absolutely so inexpensive, that I ordered a second one. The second one came in with the charger cable. The second one charged up and didn't work. The charger cable charged up the first one and it did work. This is getting complicated. My bottom line to you is I've had shabby luck on getting direct, easy deliveries on that A6 watch as described. But maybe you'll be luckier. Had no trouble at all with the other one. Let's see if I can get back there gracefully. I guess I have to set the remember before I say what I want. We'll try that. And I want the entire screen. And nope, still won't allow it. Curses. It's my day for fumbling again. This is the best day for that, it appears. Any idea, Joe?
You have to not remember.
What?
You have to set it to not remember.
Oh, wait a minute. Can I also do the D now that it's on, to go back and forth in Jitsi? I guess not. Okay. We'll try it. Now I can do it. Go.
But now you want to go to a different screen. There it is.
There it isn't. Okay, let me put it in instead. Which one am I looking for? Back to the watches. To the watch. So I expect this is the other one, and they don't have them anymore. But let me just go hunt for one. ID 205L not bands, smartwatches. We'll try that. And here we are, and they've got lots of them. I don't want lots of them. I just want one that's the lowest price with shipping. And I want it from the US. I want it new, but they're all new apparently. I don't know. Buy it now, not an auction, and US only. And here we have the latest story on them. And somebody's selling one for $12.81. Aha! That's a band for one. That's just a watch band. They've been here, and they've been here for the likes of $10.
And they've run out of.
It put in bands. I didn't, and it did.
They're sitting on a container ship off the coast of LA.
I'm sure you're right. Let's try again. Here we come. And shipping lowest and US only. Good. This is what, so here's one for under $10, folks. And free shipping. I found these, the Anbest one looked like a good one. They work. Again, they don't have the blood oxygen saturation level. They got just about everything else you can imagine. And oh, this is not the same one. Goodness gracious. This one charges differently. It's perfectly good. That's a USB fitting in one of the strap sides. Amazing. So you don't need a charger. You just need to have a USB port you can charge it from. That's not the one I'm talking about, although it sounded like it in the selection. You have to be careful on these. I want to go back one. How do I do it here? I guess I close it and go back one. Good. I expect this Anbest one is exactly what I'm talking about. And this is a watch. It's not a replacement band for a little more. But it's a pre-owned one. This is not new. So I'm getting a bunch of alternatives that are showing up. It might be actually fine. It looks exactly like what I'm talking about. He didn't show a lot of images. What do I have to pay for a new one today at the moment? And these vary wildly. Now, that's not it, but it came up on the same description. And that's all? There's no other ones? This is dismal. So I found exactly one that I could buy. It was used from the US. If I want to buy from elsewhere, I'm sure I'll get a lot more choices. Doesn't say US, does it? And went back to best match. Price and shipping lowest. And make sure it's that ID205L smartwatch, not band. China Electronics Center. Well, yeah, they ought to have it. They ought to. Try again. I'm somewhere betwixt and between. Okay. Let's see if my stuff is still hiding in there. It isn't. By the way, this is my desktop screensaver for my Ubuntu. I've got it set with Variety to do a slideshow of some of my favorite photos, mostly taken by my inexpensive smartphone and developed using Photox. Some of them developed by the camera. That one came off the web. I just liked it a lot, etc. That's our fish without the dead flying squirrel and
And a hamburger.
old shabby picture of it not doing very well. but I'll find one good one, representative. That's sharp. That's good. That's typical of my camera and Photox and Linux. All free stuff except for the camera. You can buy the camera for around $100, factory refurbished with that good, this too, that good an image. And good, I wanted to show that. But who stole my... Not here, I guess. Hard to say. I'll have to put one in again, I guess, my desktop. But that was the story on the watches. So I've got two watches I like. They're both about the same cheap price, give or take which day you look. And I tend to buy them from the US, from someone that says they're reputable, and other people aren't saying they're not. And I did well with the watches. But my next question is going to be, can I put a Linux version of the watch software on it? Don't know yet. I will go back into my screen and I will attempt to bring up my, it's in Thunderbird. That's my problem, which is closed. So it is. Okay. I don't know who did that when, but it was probably me. And here we have it. And it's back in that window where I want it. Good. Okay. So that's my story on the wristwatches, and I hope you like them. Now, I want to talk about thumb drives. What do I have to do for this one? I'll catch it first before I pretend I can look at it. Control C to copy that much text. And now, in theory, I should be able to just use it. Click. Nothing whatsoever. What, Jill?
Yeah, it's because you're editing the email here and you need to be in Thunderbird main page. And you don't have the Thunderbird main page open.
I don't?
Nope.
I thought I just did. You're right. Oh, yeah. Well, we'll see. And
I'm not sure how you...
Well, it did something and it looks the same. Shall I try it again? Hang on. How many Thunderbirds am I looking at here?
I believe you have to close this and then open Thunderbird. I don't know of a way to get back to the Thunderbird main page from an email.
Okay, I'll close this.
And it says you want to save it. And you do.
Okay. I do want to save it? No, I didn't change anything.
You must have. Better save it.
I agree with her.
Hey, 2 against 1, I'll do it. Especially today. Okay, new Thunderbird, you say?
Yep.
It says there's one open. Let's learn about that.
There it is.
Well,
No. Do you have it open in one of the tabs?
I think no, hang on a minute.
So you're going to need to find it.
I think I had it. Where did I put it? I'll bet I put it in. I should have put it in there, I think. Maybe I put it in hither. Oh. We're getting there. Nope. Sorry, guys. I want to move on and I'll find it, but let me tell you about it for now. And for that, closer. Um, okay. The second thing I wanted to tell you about was not that successful. And if I can get me on the screen, that would be nice. Holy moly. How do I get me back from there? Just a minute.
You found Jitsi.
In the Jitsi window, hit D.
Here we come bit by bit.
There we go.
Now hit D.
Boy, have I got lots of me. Well, I did hit D, I tell you. The D isn't quite functional in some mode here. I tried that first.
Well, the shortcuts only work when you're in the window that thinks it's Jitsi, not the one you're sharing.
Well, we think he was.
I think this one thinks it's Jitsi.
You're in the chat there. You're typing D in the chat.
Yeah, you got to close chat,
Yep.
or at least mouse over.
Chat. Huh, that was a great help. Let me try it a second time. Oh, I get my choice of two bad moves there. Let me try this instead. I think I will like it better. For my next act, ladies and gentlemen, what would you think of, instead of a backup drive, 2.5-inch size, 3.5-inch size, USB cable, hooks to your computer, goes away somewhere where you can find it later? What would you think of a normal thumb drive that would store 1 terabyte, run fast, and run cool? Might make a good backup drive. Might be good for us at Miller Microcomputer Services installing a custom computer. After we install the Linux, we add on a lot of other things. It's nice to have them all where they could pour on in the right places. A image of the drive. First I adjust for the particular computer hardware, and then I pour on the rest in place. That would be nice. And it would be particularly nice if it was a flash drive that said 1 terabyte
Dick,
on
you're
it.
not showing. You're all black.
I am. Ah! Sorry. Timeout. Chats and polls is still on. Get that out of the way. That's not helping?
Nope. Dick Miller. It says your connection is lost.
It does. Well, we can do that again if we have to. That doesn't make sense.
No. Go down here.
Yep. Yes.
Oh, why don't you close a bunch of these things that you're finished with?
How about this one instead?
Okay, close it.
I so wanted to open it. Let me kill this and this and this and this. Making a lot of room.
Not that one.
Right. This we're done with.
Right.
What's this? That we're done with. And that we're done with. And that we're done with. Okay, I'm very close to empty there. What would you like?
Now go back to Jitsi, which is this one up here.
Well, it was. But
No,
I think
the middle
isn't.
one, the one that says Jitsi Meet in it. NatickFOSS.
All righty.
So you're there, but you're not here. It just says DM.
That's
and
what we
that's
said
right.
earlier, so that didn't help. Okay. And, oh, I'm not blocked on my settings.
Are people hearing me?
Yes, hearing both of you.
Yes. Yeah, certainly.
Not anymore.
I'm
I
system
put
settings.
myself back on, but you had muted mine. It's told me it was from you.
Oh.
I don't see.
How do we put him back if it says his connection is lost?
I can go all the way back to Jitsi, I guess, but I don't understand that.
Okay.
Oh. Well, to see my screen. For the moment, I guess no, huh? Well, let's
Yes. Say yes.
Okay. Full screen, allow. Here we go again. Okay. Been
No.
there, done that.
No. You're still blacked out on the other thing.
No,
So
he's good. He's good. He just needs to pick what he wants to show us.
Now I want to go back to face not screen. That should be D, right? And you're still not seeing me.
You may have to hit V to enable your camera. Victor for video.
that turned him.
That turned it off. That's a good sign.
Yes. Now turn it
Now
back
it's turning
on.
it on.
But it's not turning on.
Oh, something else is blocking. It's on my screen, but it's not on Jill's yet. Or yours.
Do you want to say sayonara and come back?
Yeah. Hang on a minute.
Nope.
Well, I would like to have someone else start. Let me see.
That Bill Ricker had the
Dennis, are you good to go with your newest game, Learning Basic?
Sure.
Let me put you on with that, and I'll log off and log on. Jill will stay on. Good. Dennis Payne is our best gamesman in the bunch. He not only plays them, he programs them. So go, Dennis. Thank you.
Alrighty.
I'm going to pull it all the way down, okay? Good idea.
All right, you should be able to see my screen now.
Yes.
You can go on.
So the company I work for creates learning content. And a lot of the learning content ends up being the same sort of formula. There are videos. At the end of the videos, they have a multiple choice quiz. And that's how it determines whether you pass the training or not. And so I created a proof of concept of what you could do instead of that. So I thought about different games that could help you learn something, and I settled on what's called a Zach-like game. That name came about because of the developer of Zachtronics. He made a bunch of games like this, and so now it's referred to as a Zach-like game. Zach-like games are programming games. They sometimes hide that. so that you don't see that they're a programming game. But behind the scenes, that's what you're really doing. They just have clever user interface to kind of hide the fact that you're actually playing a programming game. So this right here is the game I created. The concept behind it is that there is a disaster on a Mars base, and you need to go over and work to restore the systems up and running. And since NASA is always using really old technology, the system that you have is only running an old version of BASIC. So thinking along the lines of like a Commodore 64 type BASIC. So you have a bunch of different tasks here. Now, the tasks I have are not the ones that should teach you BASIC. So those ones I never got around to creating. But these are like the ones that would test you in the end. So you go in here and you get information about what it is you need to do. So you can read the description of the mission. It gives you a set of sample input and sample output that it'll do. If you go over to the input output screen, you can go over and type in whatever input you want the program to read in. And this right here is the output that it creates.
Is on.
So if you go over and add in something to print and tell it to run, you will see the output in here. There's a manual that tells you all sorts of information about BASIC. So you can learn some of the fundamentals. You can look up information on the print command. After you go over and write out the program, there's this test functionality that allow you to run through the program to its completion. And you can also go over, and if it starts going crazy and just you didn't write it correctly, you can stop it. You can also step through it if you want. Now, right now, there's a cheat button that's enabled. That won't be enabled in the end. But for the time I had to demo this, I didn't have a lot of time. And so the cheat button just allows me to click the button and it'll put in a program that will pass the mission information. So then you can just tell it to test. It'll run through the whole program with some hidden data that you can't see. And if the program correctly handles it, it tells you that you succeeded. And you can either return to the editor if you wanted to play around with it some more, or you can go back to the mission select screen. Now on the mission select screen, it is now restored operation to this this building here. So it changed to this purplish color. And as you were to go through all of these other missions, it would activate different buildings. So if we just quickly cheat and go through this one. Now, the concept behind some of these missions was actually because of a book that I read as a kid called Micro Adventure. It was a novel that had little programs in it for you to type in. And so one of them was to decrypt a message. And so that's what this one is doing. And so now the communications center is restored. So that's the game. If you completed all the tasks and if it was inside of a learning system, it would actually have the ability to record that you completed the course. The game itself is written in Godot or uses Godot. So you've got two different screens. You've got the mission select and you've got the basic screen. So by default, the basic screen is hidden. So if you were to unhide it, you could see that there's the screen. This is the really long basic interpreter that I found online that someone had written in C, and then I converted it to the GD script that this uses so that I could then have a interpreter that I could run through line by line. And so that is the program. Dick, do you want me to go over and do the cow save program as well, or?
No, let's come back to that in a bit. First, I'd like to mention a few things. You'll have the links tomorrow, maybe tonight. And I'd like to hit them so the links will make sense. And then Bill has another, and you have another, and they may fit. I think they will. I'll try to go faster on the ones I'm
You were
doing.
going to show them the flash drive,
Oh,
thumb drive.
oh, that's right. I was about to demonstrate the now missing thumb drives. Oh, we're in luck. I have another set just like them. I had started to tell you about, full screen me so I can see what I'm saying. I started to show you this lovely little thumb drive. It's very well built. This isn't a bent over piece of sheet metal. And molded into it, it clearly says 1 terabyte, 1 TB. Tiny little thing. And they might sell for $10 to $15. They might sell for $40. This one has some extra tricks, not just 1 terabyte, but this end, this end will fit your USB-C, maybe in your smartphone or what have you. Flip it around. This end is a full standard USB. Flip it around. Watch close. There's nothing up my sleeves. Flip it around, and darned if you don't have a DisplayPort drive, tiny size, for iPods and iPhones and things like that. Or it goes back, you just snap it, and it's your USB drive again. That's pretty cool. I said, can't go wrong. Bought one, looked online, it said 1 terabyte, ordered it, and there was just one thing wrong with it. I could only get 64 gigabytes of storage onto it. Looked around further, and to my astonishment, I found an even more interesting one for I think $11 or $12. And this one's a 2 terabyte drive. And look at it. If you can see closely enough, there's a hole in there, and that's a standard USB. This is smaller than the other one, and they're both small. They're not large thumb drives. This is quite small, and it's the size of the USB male fitting itself, except for the end where you can pivot it. And look close for the seams on this, folks. There are no, as in 0, seams on the whole damn thing. which leads me to believe that they probably shoved the electronics in from the open end. But I still come back to the question, how did they build the darn thing? It's not sheet metal out here. It's obviously has some thickness to, wait a minute, has some thickness to it. And it weighs close to zilch, very lightweight. And it looks like it's metal, feels like it isn't even plastic, it's so light. And it's 2 terabytes. It turns out it had a similar problem. Instead of being twice as good, it's twice as bad. 32 gigabytes is what I can fit on it. And I didn't know that. I put on something in the way of 200 gigabytes on my first test. Just my pictures collection, I think. And it went on. Looked fine. Worked fine. The drive was still cool, putting on all that stuff. And I was really impressed. I said, wow, this one works. Jill, you try it. She got 32 gigs worth of them.
A whole bunch of the folders were empty.
And I scratched my head, put it back in mine. Wasn't working anymore. Well, it was sitting on my 16 gigs of RAM, or at least the part of it that was still cache memory available for swapping out. And it was sitting on my giant as in 1 terabyte. This is 2. SSD in my computer. It was sitting there in a temporary program. And I could find it afterward, but I couldn't link it back to the drive itself once I pulled the drive out. So a little sleight of hand there. It really looked good for a minute. But it is a 32 gigabyte flash drive, clearly advertised as 2 terabytes. That got me really interested. I tried a few other places selling the same thing, and a lot of places are selling it on eBay and on all the other normally reliable online sellers.
Including Amazon.
Amazon, yes. Same stuff.
I had the same drive. I've got a 1 terabyte version, the same one you have.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to format it. The problem is you can't format it with FAT. You have to actually use something like ext2 or something like ext4.
The 1 terabyte, the so-called 1 terabyte one, I did try reformatting a few ways, including to ext4. I wasn't able to succeed anyway. Did you simply reformat it? You made the whole thing just ext4, one partition?
Yes. Not only did I do that, is that I got an error message. So I did it a second time. It formatted, and then I fully verified that it was 1 terabyte.
Tune in next month, folks. Back to the drawing board.
But however, there are some fraudsters selling tiny ones marked as big ones for exactly the scam that you thought you'd been taken by.
Yep.
So either or both of the two you've got might be scammy, and Jerry got lucky and got a real one.
That may be. Did you buy it for around the $10, $20 range, Jerry?
I don't know. I'll have to log into Amazon and see how much I bought it for.
Okay.
Probably not.
They certainly have them listed. Some of the ones that are listed say clearly 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte. But then you go look in the fine print, and lo and behold, it says 64 gigabytes.
Yep.
Others don't.
I bought it specifically to plug into my car for the Sentry mode and the and the dash cam that's built into the Tesla. And it, when I first put it in, it locked up the screen.
Huh.
And I couldn't open the glove box. I had to go down to Tesla, have them unlock it for me.
Wow. Huh. Interesting bargains out there. Well,
Yeah.
the other link I'm going to provide with the links for the two of these, which I'm not recommending you buy yet, but if Jerry has one that works, I'd like to see that loaded in too. Send it at your convenience, Jerry, and I'll add it in. And I'll try that experiment again for me. I didn't try it on the 2 terabyte one. But the other comment I had on it is, just a minute now.
Here.
My title is going to be Thumb Drives That Lie. But if you simply do a search online for, let's see, fake TB, you don't have to say 1 or 2, just fake TB thumb drive. Oh boy, will you get a lot of hits. An experiment worth doing. And the part that baffles me about it is it should be easy to test for it now, but both eBay and Amazon and other good places aren't flagging them. They aren't taking them offline. I don't understand why not.
I'm shocked that you're referring to eBay and Amazon as good places.
I find them reliable on most of what I do. In that sense, for online buying, good prices, plenty of offers on most things from the USA, so quick delivery. And I've had very little to complain about up till now. So this one's a winner topic for that kind of problem.
And a lot of them
Does
say,
someone have someplace they'd prefer to eBay and Amazon for online ordering from the US?
Well, I used to use Fry's,
Right.
but Micro Center even has a facility in
That's right.
county just across the river from me.
They just opened a facility, didn't they, for that? I'll look there too and see. But the TB thumb drive sounds like where you go look and see what you get. They both sound like they'd be absolutely wonderful. And yes, Jerry, I wanted to put this on my bolts display too and have my running slideshow go there. Why not? Not while I'm driving. Yes, I know that. But I'm often sitting and waiting a little while and then going. So it'd be nice to have. Anyway, tune in next month. Anyone who's active with this issue, feel free to talk with me and I'll talk back with you. I'd like to find a good solution for the ones I have. That would be good news for everyone, or at least find some ones you can order and trust. Thanks. That was mine.
The trustable terabyte USBs are $200.
You have SanDisk and the like. That's what got me interested. But I can show you other examples like that on watches with the same kind of price spread.
my guess is that these are the ones that didn't pass the
Yep.
quality control, and they're selling them. And the thing is that you plug it in and the computer reads that it's a terabyte or 2 terabytes.
Yep.
What it turns out is they have manipulated the firmware.
Yes.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
These
And
drives,
maybe my starting point is I didn't yet find their hidden firmware to remove it.
it isn't removable. It is the controller. They have altered the controller in such a way that
You think
it
I can't
identifies with a capacity that is fake.
But, okay, well, so you're thinking it is a
There are
32
multiple
gig.
possibilities. Some of them are the fakes that he's speaking about, that I was speaking about.
Yeah.
Some of them are quality control rejects that Jill was speaking about,
Yeah.
that may have more bad blocks than they should have, and you'll get most of your terabyte. And you know, who knows? But the if you find legitimate off brands, they can be a good bargain, but you run the risk of A, low quality, and B, telling the legit low quality from the actual crooks is difficult, and that's why people are willing to pay more for brands they recognize from companies that you can actually complain to.
Each of these described items is available in a surprising variety of physical forms. A lot of different minor style changes. So they're not just making one batch and having the bad ones go in here. I'm very intrigued, most of all, with how come there's so very, very many of these offers on those sellers that, in my experience, have had a much better track record. They don't keep the bad ones on for long. So I'm interested in what's going on. There's another kind of a scam going on too. Or maybe I'll have a miracle happen and one of them will work fine. The experience with the watch tells me it could be good. And the bad ones and the good ones could be mixed up. And I don't know how to tell yet. We shall see.
Meanwhile, I'm only glad that they're cheap enough that we haven't lost a lot.
Let me see. Bill, you were going to take us beyond the Wayback Machine, building on last month. Can you do that now?
Sure.
Let's go there. And if there's time, Dennis, your offer will be the closer, I think.
Okay. Last month, Dick celebrated the Internet Archive's 25th anniversary and discussed the Wayback Machine portion of their services. But what the anniversary was the anniversary of starting to scrape for that, but they didn't introduce the Wayback Machine immediately. They have lots of other services. In addition to the web, which is the Wayback Machine that we discussed, they have all these other things down here, which you see icons: books, videos, audio, software, images. They have the books are classified in various collections, one of which is genealogy, with a large portion of that provided by a public library that has a strong Mormon community, so they strongly support genealogical research. And they have books that are rare and scarce in their collection that they've digitized, so that if you need to find the lineage of Richard Ely of Plymouth, England, they've got a copy. And you can just click on it. And you can read the book. And you can download the book. They have PDF, black and white PDF, DAISY for print-disabled users, EPUB for your tablet, Kindle if you have a paywall-type tablet. All of those choices. I like to take the PDF and the full text saved as a .txt so that I can do my own keyword searching offline. How do they get these books, you might ask? Some people scan in books using a Canon digital camera and a couple of lights set on either side, slowly turning the pages one at a time. The big libraries that are contributing use book stands like this that can shoot 2 pages at a time by having a camera both upper left and upper right, and a 90-degree set of glass plates lowers into position holding the pages flat, then rises up again. The attendant turns the page, it lowers down, shoots 2 more pages. I have a blog report on that.
Ooh, cool.
Maybe where there's a competitive selection of ebooks, free ebooks, online, Project Gutenberg. Gutenberg has a much smaller collection. However, they have very strong value-added proofreading on the OCR, the optical character recognition of the scans, so that they're just higher quality. And Gutenberg is, in fact, a special collection under the Internet Archive. What Gutenberg doesn't do is offer PDFs. They have HTML and some of the tablet-type formats. But Gutenberg also is working around the memory hole. We call the Dark Ages because we don't have much in the way of written records from the 800s and the 900s in Europe. Well, we've got another memory hole between 1930 and 1996, when the Internet Archive started, where copyright law, thanks to Mickey Mouse lawyers, has kept things in copyright for 75 years, and so it's not on the internet. It's not indexed. It's not freely available. The Gutenberg project has taken an imaginative attitude with copyright law regarding the pulp magazines of the 1950s. While many of the stories that were published in the pulp magazines were later republished in collected short stories, the original first serial edition, the copyright on the issue collection was not renewed by the magazine corporation, and the version published in the collected shorts was differently edited, and so it is a separate copyrightable work, and the edition their lawyers say that was in the magazine is now in the public domain, since it was not renewed in a timely fashion. This is sketchy under U.S. copyright law according to the Mickey Mouse extension, but Gutenberg's running with it, so an awful lot of classic science fiction and detective stories in their original magazine editions are available there. There are other memory hole dodges. Warren Zevon's son donated the live concert tapes for all concerts that weren't used on albums. Donated to the public domain. And let's see. This song is appropriate given what Dick said a few minutes ago. For my next trick, I'll need a volunteer. You have both technical documentation, a nearly complete run of Scientific American to early portion of this century. So a century and a half of Scientific American is available. That's pretty nice. But you also have pleasure reading, classics, or here we have the Boys Thud and Blunder World War II novels that my father collected as a youth. I can now find the ones that I didn't steal from his boyhood bedroom because he didn't get a couple of these. Well, I can find them in e-copies now. And with e-copies, I can search. Edgar Allan Poe includes The Mask of the Red Death in Gregg shorthand. That's different. So there are just lots and lots of these. Not there. Thank you. They've got lots of collections. Some named for the institution that's providing them, some named for the topic, television news, radio shows, podcasts. Another way of dealing with the memory hole, they consider that since public libraries are allowed to loan copies that they paid for, they feel that paid for copies should be e-loanable also, so that when they've scanned a copyrighted book, a book that's still in copyright, they will loan it to one person at a time. Let's click on one of these. So this says renewable every hour pending availability. Need to log in, but and you get a limited preview. Okay, I can see the stamps on the front. You get only a limited preview until you log in and click borrow, but then you can view it for an hour. So this is, and they also have audiobook versions of these with the Get Print Disability access for those in-print books. So it's an online audiobooks. I hope Dave is catching this. So that's another way of dealing with the memory hole. And this is connected with a group called the Open Library. Let's see, what else do we have? So there's just an amazing amount of stuff there. Now, I've been using this for technological history and for genealogy. And in those cases, I've been using both the ACK improvement on grep and Swish E for offline keyword and the like searching. So Swish E is something you can get from your Ubuntu repository or the like, and it lets you do a keyword indexing of a whole repository of PDFs or text files or anything that can be dumped to a text file. I use the combination of those. So that's what I've got for a quick 5-cent tour. If people have specific interests, we can dig into one or the other more deeply.
Have you tried out LibriVox.org?
LibriVox.
They have people read the public domain books.
Ah, okay.
Bill, Dennis, everybody.
Oh, I have a question for Bill.
It's I instead of
Wrap
E.
it up, and we've got some good things online for next month. I can see that. This is full of good ideas.
I did have a question for Bill, and
Yes.
that is that I also do a lot of genealogical research on both of our families and friends' families. And I tried that, borrowing some of those books. And everyone I tried, I couldn't seem to get into for some reason. Have you found that they're often difficult to access?
Or is there a method that's
Well, the popular ones are going to be difficult to access since
Oh, is it one at a time?
they tried opening it up greater than one at a time because of COVID, and the publishers' lawyers jumped on them really, really hard.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
So it is a queuing thing.
I guess I'll try again.
And I want to say that's a lot of fascinating stuff. But Bill, I'm holding you personally responsible. If she'll gets that working, I don't know if she'll be up from looking at it by next month. And I'm pretty sure I won't be out of a Scientific American by then either, but we'll see. What a lot of good stuff to do. And
It'll still be there next year.
Dennis, that looks like a lot of good stuff too. Thanks to everybody. If you presented something or mentioned something that ought to go into the links and archive for today, send it along, please. After dinner, I'll put it all together. And in particular, those who presented, I have a current subject up online now. If you want to change the wording of it, let me know about that too. Good. Thanks to everybody. Are there any last minute questions or comments? Okay.
Dick, I just sent you the links and I sent you a copy of the presentation.
Great. Thanks to everybody. Wasn't this fun? See you next month.
Okay,
Okay.
bye.